Welcome back, guys. This is Saved by Grace, and I am Miss D. Welcome back, and Happy New Year. Today we're going to be in Isaiah 43:18 through 19. So Isaiah 43:18-19. And so, it says, but forget all of that. It is nothing compared to what I am going to do. For I am about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in the dry wastelands. And so, in these couple of verses, guys, it's pretty much where God actually is recollecting what he's done in the past for Israel. And so he tells them, you know what I mean? Like, if you look in the previous verses, you see a lot of, I, it says, I, yes, I, in verse 11, I, yes, I am the Lord, and there is no other Savior. For I predicted your rescue, then I saved you and proclaimed it to you. And so really, he is all of the eyes that's in there, and then like in 13, he says, for eternity to eternity, I am God. No one can snatch anyone out of my hands. No one can undo what I've done. And so really what this is God is owning his power. He's owning who he is in a very proud way. And he's God. He can do just that. He's the creator of all, right? But so even though he's reminding them of all of those things that he's already done, for them or whatever, he tells them in verse 18, but forget about all that. That's the past. I'm doing something new, and so he just pretty much, start reflecting on that. I need you to see what I'm doing right now, right? And so right before Christmas, I was out with a friend that was visiting Las Vegas, and we went to lunch. And so, it was a bunch of us or whatever, and everybody at that moment was actually reflecting like on 2025 or whatnot. And so as everybody was reflecting on like 2025 and the challenges and all the things that they have been going through and talking about how rough, 2025 had been, and now that it's come to the end, we kind of like do that. We think about, our year in perspective and everything. And so I instantly was reminded that, because I thought about my challenges as well, even though I didn't really speak to it too much because, they already knew what the situation was or whatever, but so I didn't speak to it too much, but, I was just, reminded that God is doing a new thing and that I needed to focus on that and stay present for the new thing that he's actually doing in my life. Like, just be grateful in this situation. I was reminded to be grateful, especially when you hear other people situations and challenges and what they've been through or whatever, and you look at yours and you're like, well, wait a minute. My situation might not be as bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, but, and so it's one of those things where you start to reflect on gratefulness and gratitude, and even in a situation that you are in. And so tells them to, forget about the past. And he says, for I am about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? And so it's one of those things where we're reminded that, like, we have to remember that, like, our focusing too much on what's happened or what's happening can stagnate us from moving forward, you know what I mean, with the Lord. And so we we rob ourselves of being able to see how much he's trying to grow us and develop us and strengthen us and change our character, and actually see, allow us to see character development happening in the process of, in the midst of all that. And so um, he says, he says, I'm about to do something new. And so we know that 2026 is now here, a few weeks later from when I actually wrote this out. I just had a lot, going on. And for me, like, I couldn't see, like, the new, and I used a lot of things to distract me, in the process, I think, from actually allowing me to see the new or whatever. And so, but now that, I have stepped into part of the new, because one of the things that I had to actually do was, because I was laid off, I left Las Vegas and I moved to Florida. I could not find a job out there, but I've only been here not even 2 weeks. And within like 4 days, I had jobs, interviews, emails, all the things coming. Like it was so much. It was very overwhelming. And my daughter even said, "Dang, Mom, this is overwhelming. It's not even for me, it's for you." And so, but it got to the point where, like, I had to cancel interviews that I had set up, and all the things. And I'm grateful that the interviews that I did have set up and lined up, people were like, were still nice about the way I handled with canceling. Like, they wasn't, rude or disrespectful or any of those things or whatever. Like, they understood the situation. They understood the transition that was going on as I explained the situation to them as to why I had to cancel everything, right? And so, it's one of those things where, like, the new for me is a new state, a new job, a new environment, you know what I mean? And so, when he actually says, when he talks about the dry wastelands, that's essentially what it is. I make a path through the wilderness. The wilderness can be confusion because you don't know what's happening. You know what I mean? In that moment, it could be the uncertainty or whatever. It could be the reliance on God. And so when he says that I'll make a pathway in the wilderness, that's really what it is. And so for me, like, I really could not see, in that moment, like, everything that was going on. But, I knew one thing for certain and two things for sure, is that, like, I had to come here and get myself set up and, totally depend on God and focus on what he's doing, through me, to me, and for me. Is, so crazy because, like, the job that I actually got hired for, I didn't even apply for. I actually applied for a different position, and we have, another position for you. And so they offered that position up to me. I went and toured the place, a couple of times or whatever, to check it out, to see and feel the energy of the building, to talk to the staff and all the things or whatever. And so I pretty much got accepted, the job and everything, the offer, and talked to him about some things or whatnot. And so it's like being in one state and being stuck with everything that had happened and everything I was going through mentally or whatever. And then, trying to figure out how to navigate through the next or through the new, especially being, in unfamiliar environment, unfamiliar territory, like, not knowing nothing, nobody, how people function and operate, moving me from what I'm comfortable with, for 20 years in Vegas, and taking me out of that, and now putting me in a land or a territory that I just know nothing about, and that frankly, honestly, I just wasn't really ready to, move or transition into. And so, but when it's time, it's like you can't miss your window of opportunity, and it's like you have to take it, at that point, because you don't know what's, going to be the next window of opportunity, or, any of that, when you have that chance again. And so, I just, is for me right now is remembering why I'm here and remember how I got here. Those are the two things that I have to stay focused on, is remembering why I'm here and how I got here. And the ironic thing about it is that, like, there's a church out here that I've been following since March. I was just out here last year, 2025 March, in Miami for my birthday, and I've been watching this pastor, and I've been following their church since like March. And so like now I get a chance to actually visit it since I'm out here in Florida or whatever. And so again, there's that element of first things is first. And when anytime you navigate from one state to another state, your first priority is to find a church home, because I was involved very heavy in the church, going to the women's conferences, being a part of youth, going to service, going to events, doing all the things and whatnot. And so to have that taken away from me, I gotta kind of like rebuild all of that up. And it's a situation where like it's scary because of the uncertainty or whatever. But I do know that God did not bring me this way, to leave me now or to forsake me or anything. And so that's what keeps me going or whatnot. And so I'm happy for that. And so, Lord, I say thank you for this time and this platform. Thank you for helping me to understand and see the transitions and to see the new. It's hard. It is. It's very hard. And so I pray that anyone is going through a new transition in 2026, that you would help us to stay focused on you. And help us to understand that you are here. You have not left us or forsaken us or whatnot. I pray that you help me to be the example and the light that you need me to be, not just in my new workplace, but among the people that I will be working for, Lord. Thank you, Father. Bless you, Jesus. And I pray that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So guys, remember, if whatever you're doing is not honoring to the Lord, you ain't got no business doing. Bye, guys.